Mr. Wright?
Huh? What?
Are trials always like this with you? Like you're swimming up from the bottom of the lake, about to reach the surface, but no matter how hard you paddle, you never seem to get there?
Pretty much. Except today, we're swimming in quicksand.
So, what happened to your sister anyway? Apparently, she got called off to the judge's chambers.
Huh. Probably something to do with that piece of cloth.
So, this is where we turn this trial around, right? Our only weapon, a tiny, insignificant piece of cloth.
I'm the one who's starting to feel tiny and insignificant, to tell the truth. Hola, partner. They say you show a red cloth to a bull, it'll fire up its temper. That's what they told me when I was a youngin', at least.
Officer Marshall!
Thought I'd come take a look-see at how the trial's going. Looks like I'm late. They've got the home ranch locked down tighter than a fort in enemy territory. That hard to slip out, huh?
What is going on over there anyway? All the police I've seen these last 2 days have been really on edge.
Don't you got enough on your plate without worrying about other people, compadre? You could be worrying about the chief prosecutor's taste in mufflers, for example.
Officer Marshall? The whole muffler thing didn't have anything to do with the scarves. She wasn't even wearing a scarf.
You don't say. Now, don't that just beat all? I've seen the red breeze blow at her slender neck many a time. I saw it that day, too. She was wearing a red muffler.
What?
At the awards ceremony that afternoon. Edgeworth's seen it too, I'd reckon.
What does that mean? In the photograph taken at the crime scene, she wasn't wearing a scarf. So, Miss Starr wasn't mistaken.
Well, it's about time. Remember, partner, sometimes you gotta grab the bull by the horns. And sometimes you just gotta let that bull go where it will. Time will tell. I have a bad feeling about this.
So, what are we swimming in now, Mr. Wright?
If it's steak sauce, I can hook you up with some fine ribs. Woo-wee! I'd like to resume?
What's up? The judge keeps looking over at the prosecution.
Edgeworth? Is something wrong, Mr. Edgeworth? Your face is blue, your lips are purple, you're sweating bullets. That furrowed brow, those grinding teeth, those watery eyes. What's more, your eyes are unfocused. You're doubled over, your back is bent. It can't be! This can't happen!
I wonder what happened to Mr. Edgeworth.
Well, then, I believe it is time we continued on with this trial. During our recess, I requested that the prosecution conduct an investigation. This is unacceptable! It seems our prosecutor is quite beside himself. What the heck?
Excuse me, knock knock?
Who's there? Oh, what the heck? Who are you? What's with this guy? A strange stuffy aura seems to be filling the courtroom.
Hey, the temperature chose 5.7 degrees when that man came in.
Who on earth is he? Ah, It's you! Sorry I'm late, Edgy. The roads were packed. It's just me. Long time no see, eh, Edgy? How you been? Swim much these days? Hello? Hello? No, I've been so busy. Busy? Busy smishing Edgy. Oh, it's Edgy, not Edgy. I thought I was talking about Edgeworth. My bad. Busy smizzy Edgy, my boy. You have to make time to relax. Yes, indeed.
Udgy seems to be his nickname for the judge?
I'm afraid you're right. Very afraid. Sorry, but who are you? So you're Righto, the attorney. I've heard good things about you, son. Thanks? So sorry about our little worthy giving you all that trouble, eh? You know, we should all go swimming together sometime. Jolly! Little worthy? Mr. Wright, you don't know the district chief of police? Chief of police? He's the top-ranking police officer in the entire district. Name's Gat, Damon Gat. Pleased to meet you, everyone. So, to what do we owe this honor today? It's been over 2 years since you last came to this courtroom, hasn't it? Well, it's worthy here. Look at the poor fellow. I just thought I'd help out by bringing this.
Hey, that's my sister's muffler!
So Mr. wasn't just seeing things.
When the crime occurred, Miss Sky really was wearing that muffler.
But to think that it was stuffed into that exhaust pipe. On Little Worthy's car, no less. It's really quite embarrassing, even for us. What is this? It's what you'd call a switchblade knife. Quite perplexing, this. Chief! What kind of outfit are you running? Mr. Edgeworth! How could they miss such a vital piece of evidence? If your investigators are this lax, how do you expect us to do our job? Now, wait a minute, Worthy. I've no desire to hear your excuses. I'm telling you to wait. Or didn't you hear me? Have a look at this document where it says person in charge of investigation. There's no mistaking that signature is there. Miles Edgeworth. That's not fair! On the day of the crime, I had your head in the clouds because you got that award. I know how you feel. But you're the person in charge. I'll expect a written apology. What? Are you serious? Oh, don't be too upset. We'll find a way to clear up this mess that you made.
This is the first time I've seen Mr. Edgeworth at a loss for words.
This kind of major blunder is unlike you, Mr. Edgeworth. The court now accepts this new evidence. But I'd like to ask the defense a favor first. Yes? Just to be sure, I'd like to take a look at the blade of this knife. The blade, Your Honor? Well, I don't see why not. Could you open it up for me, I wonder? Yes, well, I think all you do is push that switch and... If I cut my finger, Mr. Wright, I wouldn't be able to pound my gavel anymore. Yeah, but if I cut my finger, I wouldn't be able to point at people anymore. That's what you're worried about?
Come on, just hurry up and open it!
Oh, doing it automatically again. Okay, this just gets weirder and weirder, and it has to do the long way around, because of course it does. Okay, well, we've got a tag right here.
There's a small tag on this knife.
Seems to say SL92.
What does that mean?
Well, I've heard something similar. DL6 of the DL6 incident fame.
But it's strange.
Huh? What is?
I'm not certain, but I get the feeling I've seen this somewhere before. Letters like this, or letters that looked a lot like this, somehow.
Okay. What is this? What's this stain right there? Are those fingerprints? It might be something to look at later, but right now, let's open it up.
Ah! Don't scare me like that!
I'm the one who's scared!
Look at this knife blade. The tip is broken off.
And this dark red stain. Blood? Switchblade. Found at the crime scene wrapped in the defendant's muffler. So wait a minute. So this is different than the knife that we already had. So there's two knives? Two knives involved with this. Okay. This does not excuse the actions of the police department. I would like to hear an explanation from the chief of police himself. I'm terribly sorry, but could I ask you to testify for us about the split between the prosecutors and the police? And this knife? Sure thing. Not a problem. Not even a little one. Really? Okay, going straight into it with this guy. Gant? This knife is special, but I can't say how here. Unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman. That was a bad day for the department. We weren't in any shape to do an investigation. A detective was killed at the police department, see? What a mess. The time of the crime, 5:15. Scary coincidence, eh? Not officially linked to this case, so I can't talk much about it. There was a murder at the police department? A detective? That's hush-hush information, Udgy. We haven't exactly announced it yet. Wait a second! You said 5:15! That's the exact time that Detective Goodman was killed at the prosecutor's office! Order! 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 Anyway, we at the department were all flustered, as you might well assume. We're in the middle of a top secret investigation. Don't tell anyone, okay? I think we understand the police department's situation. Well, Mr. Wright?
Two detectives killed at the same time in two different places. The chances of that are really slim, scientifically speaking, of course.
I'd like to exercise my right to cross-examine the witness. Very well. However, keep your questions focused on the case at hand. Okay, I'm trying to remember everything that happened before, because that was a lot that I had to go with, and a lot of it was just kind of fumbling. It was also like a week ago. Okay. So yeah, so the murder weapon in our case was Edgeworth's knife. We have that, but now we have this new switchblade that was found at the crime scene that is somehow tied to another murder that happened at the exact same time. What is going on? Can I examine, like,
No, it looks like those are fingerprints, though. Can't do anything with that. There's this. Does that tell me anything more? Small tag, SL92. Maybe that's a number. I think I've seen something like this before. Something similar to what's written on this tag. Court record again. Wait a minute, hold on. SL92. What was Goodman's note? It's upside down! SL9221. Okay, that's interesting. Very interesting. So Goodman's note. So then what was... Now I'm just even more confused. What does Goodman's note have to do with this? Okay, let's just press everything and let's see what we can get. Excuse me, special? Hard to come by this particular knife anywhere else. Might that special thing be this little tag? Sorry, Righto, but I can't say that now. Not that. We've established that the knife in Goodman's chest was this knife. Now, why was there another knife at the scene of the crime? That's quite a mystery. And like a mystery, it's wrapped in something. A muffler! Okay, unless there's evidence to prove a connection between this knife and Goodman, which there is! This knife was found on the scene of our crime. I think that makes it connected to the case, don't you? See, there's a lot of things that go on at the department I can't explain. It's delicate, okay? Sorry, Righto. Maybe there's something about the knife that will give us a clue. Let's examine the knife while we can, Righto. Evidence that linked this knife to Detective Goodman. I think perhaps the pieces are falling into place. I should try presenting the piece of evidence that's had me stumped all this time. So how are things down at the department? Okay, I think we do know what to do. Should we just continue? I think we probably should. I think what we need to do is present that note with this. But let's maybe get some more information about this other case. Something happened at the police department too, huh? You got a good look in your eyes there, Righto, my boy. Sharp, hungry. So, something did happen. And why wasn't I informed? Why weren't you informed? Well, why didn't you ask? No matter, I understand. You were busy, what with Lana's case and all. Well, what happened? What happened at the police department that day? Okay, detective was killed at the police department. On the same day the detective was killed in the prosecutor's parking lot. Another detective was killed at the police department? That's a fact! Surprising, isn't it, Udgy? I'm at a loss for words. And the perpetrator? Do you have a suspect? Well, there was a suspect. Just arrested them, in fact. Just arrested? That was quick. But there's still a lot of unanswered questions. Maybe you could help, Righto? I suppose I could help, if you help me by giving me data on your case. Good one. This kid's sharp. Okay, here's the deal. I'll tell you one thing, and one thing only. Okay, interesting. Where the victim was found, how the victim was killed, when the victim died. Okay, when the victim died, he's already told us. It's at 5:15, the exact same time that Goodman died. Where? Police department. How? I assume with the knife, but... Okay, how was this victim killed? Well, how was the detective killed? How was he killed? Now that's the interesting part. It was what we in the Force call a stabbing with a knife. A knife? That's exactly the same as Detective Goodman! That's the spirit! We're cooking now. But you know, that's not the only thing that was exactly the same. What do you mean? There were more similarities between the two cases than the cause of death. Seems like I'm going to have to press this a bit harder. Okay, just for transparency's sake, you might have noticed a weird cut-in just now. And that's because the original footage got corrupted. Yeah, I at least was able to salvage up to this point. But unfortunately, the rest of it got corrupted and I wasn't able to salvage what I could. Nor could I really replicate what was going on, like, because most of it is just dialogue. So unfortunately, the rest of this is going to be stuff that I already know. Thankfully, this is nowhere near as difficult as everything having to do with Angel Star. I was actually able to get through everything without even missing a single point. So, I feel proud of myself. It's just sad that you guys don't get to see my deduction because I already know the answers. Granted, it has been like a week since I last recorded. That's just scheduling. Also, I didn't feel like redoing it immediately because I was really bummed out. But anyway, let's get back to pressing Gant. 5:15? But that's when Detective Goodman was killed in the prosecutor's office. What? Funny, isn't it? A murder at the prosecutor's place and a murder at our place at the same time. What are the chances? Coincidence? This is just my gut feeling, but I'd say there's a 0.001% chance of that happening. Chief Gant, please tell us more about the incident. Okay, not officially linked, so I can't talk much about it. How can you say that there's no connection? How? Because I'm the chief of police. I can't just say anything I please, Righto. You understand. Try to understand, Righto. Well, if you can prove there's a connection, more power to you. Maybe there is something that ties the two murders together. Whatever it is, I'd better find it and get to the bottom of this. Okay, 2 detectives were killed, blah, 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 blah. And then the knife. Okay. So I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. So yeah, unless there's evidence that proves a connection between this knife and Goodman. I'm trying to remember exactly the order that I did this in. Something about the knife that will give us a clue. So I need to present the evidence that ties that knife to it. And we already, well, I already know what it is. So looking at this knife, it's at SL9-2. The piece of evidence that Phoenix is talking about is Goodman's note. Looking at it at a different way, it says SL9. So this is what we need to present. Wait a second! At last! An honest-to-goodness objection! This knife. This has to have something to do with Detective Goodman. What do you mean? And honest to goodness, what do you mean? From Udgy. Oh, this is great. Look at the tag on this knife. It reads SL92.
And this is important. Why?
Over here, we also have a memo that was on the body of the victim.
What's this? 6 minus 7s 12 over 2.
Your Honor, it's upside down.
Upside...
The printed name on the memo makes it look like it's right side up. But turn it around, and what do you get? Whoever wrote this note was holding the paper upside down.
SL9. That's the same thing that's written on the knife's tag. Order! Order! Well, Chief? Ah, well. I guess the cat's out of the bag. You win, Righto.
I win? What game is this guy playing? This knife was evidence in the case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room. Okay. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm seeing a pattern with this case where we have to present evidence and that changes the testimony as opposed to just interrogating them. I've also been told by quite a few people that this case is like the longest case of the entire game and basically doubles the length of the entire game. And seeing this first day in court and everything that I had to do with Angel Star, I 100% believe you guys. So this knife was stolen?
Yes, but on the day of the murder.
It was evidence, you say. Was it in fact a murder weapon?
Nice, nice, nice. Good show, little worthy. It was a murder weapon, as it happens. It was evidence from a case long since solved.
So this knife was stolen on the day of the murder, and it was found in the exhaust pipe of Edgeworth's car. Hard to think there isn't a connection there. Okay. We were in shape doing investigating. I believe the next thing that I needed to do, because at this point I was kind of stumped. Yeah, its detective was killed at the police department. Blah, 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 blah. Suspect just arrested. Okay. So yeah, this is something that I remembered that I did before. So Gant will actually just tell us everything. So the option that I picked before, and actually produced results, coincidentally, was where the victim was found. So tell me, where was the victim found?
Well, I can't speak on where the corpse was found. But I can say that the crime took place in the evidence room at the police department.
The evidence room? Wait a second! I have heard of that. The evidence room? Didn't he mention that in his testimony just now?
This knife was evidence in a case. It was stolen from the department's evidence room.
There's the connection between the two cases. You seem happy, Mr. Wright. Happy? We just got handed our ticket to go to town on this case. With the link between the two cases established, we finally have some leverage. Now we can get Gant to testify about the details. Okay, so... I believe... Okay, yeah, it actually put us where we needed. It's not officially linked to the case, so I can't talk much about it. And I believe what we have to present here was the knife itself. Oh, it wasn't? Okay, well, I already done worse than where I was the first time. Actually, I think I just need to press him instead of presenting evidence. I think I screwed up there. Well, obviously I screwed up there.
Chief, the defense's position is simply this. The connection between these two cases has already been proven. You don't say. Well, out with it, Righto. What's your connection? Yes, out with it, Mr. Wright. The connection is a place mentioned in the testimony we just heard. The knife found in the lot was stolen from the police department's evidence room. Not to mention the victim had on him the case number on the knife's evidence tag. And we also know that the detective murdered at the police department was killed in that very same evidence room. Indeed. There do seem to be too many connections for it to be a coincidence. You two make a good pair. It took my men 2 days to find out what you deduced right here. Chief! I request that you release your information on the victim at the police department. See, that's the tricky part. It hasn't been announced yet. And all. Can we get that information unofficially? Sure, why not? It's unofficial after all. What? Really?
Who would have guessed?
Okay, I'll cooperate, but I can't reveal the name of the victim at the department. If you're going to tell us a little, why not tell us everything? Well, case information is sticky stuff. You have to do everything properly. Oh well, I guess I might as well try to get what I can out of him. Okay, and this is one that I had a hunch on, and my hunch turned out to be exactly right. So, Gant will tell us one piece of information about the victim. The division, the ID number, or the gender. And my hunch was the ID number. Okay, how about you tell me the victim's ID number? Sure, why not? It's not like you'll be able to tell who it is from that. Of course not. You won't tell me their name after all. We keep a tight lid on ID numbers, so don't go getting your hopes up. The number is 584-2189. Well, that's quite long. And we have to remember these. It drives me nuts. 8, 2... Nah, I can't do it. You didn't even get the first number right! Well, Mr. Wright, does this tell you anything? The ID number of the victim at the police department. 5842189. The reason I had my hunch on this was because it gave me the option for it, and the other two didn't seem to really zone in. But I was wondering if it could have been the same as our ID number. And wouldn't you know it, it is. Actually, it does, Your Honor. It does. I think. Meaning? It has to be what I think it is. But what does this mean? Well, let's hear what the defense has to say. You say the ID number of the detective who was murdered at the police department tells you something. What does it tell you? It tells me exactly who was murdered at the police department. Witness. What is it, Mr. Wright? You're grinning like a schoolgirl on prom night. No, it's just, I got confused. And this is news? Huh? Just come out with both guns blazing, like you always do. The police department, the prosecutor's office. 2 places, 2 detectives murdered at one time.
Actually, I happen to have a police ID number here.
Oh, is it yours?
No, Your Honor, I'm a defense attorney, remember? This is the ID number of our victim, Detective Goodman.
Shame on you, Righto! Personal IDs are top secret.
Detective Goodman's ID number is 5842189.
And this means what exactly?
Huh?
Wait, the ID number we heard from the chief earlier. That started with 82... no, I've forgotten.
You didn't even get the first number right! Again! The number the chief of police gave us was 5842189. Wait a second, Wright. What does this mean? That's what I want to know. The two ID numbers are identical. In other words, the detective killed in the police department's evidence room was Bruce Goodman. What does our witness think about that?
Sharp as a tack, Righto. Sharp as a tack. But wait, Detective Goodman is our victim. He was killed at 5:15 in the underground parking lot.
Yet a detective, Bruce Goodman, was also killed at the police department. In the evidence room at the same time. That's impossible! So what we're saying is, the same person was killed at the same time? And in completely different locations? Order! 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 Chief! What does this mean? No. What I want to know is, why didn't I hear about this? Yes, it's top secret, fine. But I'm the prosecutor in charge of the case.
Now, just wait a second, Worthy. No need to get all flustered.
Your Honor! The police department has made a grave error in this case.
Wait. I said, wait. Or didn't you hear me? The oversight, the grave error. Mr. Edgeworth, they're yours.
What? How dare!
We informed you yesterday. I believe it was our Officer Meekins who brought you the news.
Officer Meekins? Mr. Wright, where have we heard that name before? Wait!
Excuse me, but is Mr. Edgeworth, anywhere on the premises?
I'm here, sir, at the request of the chief, sir! I've got your report, sir! You don't mean him!
According to Meekins, you didn't accept the report. Hard to believe.
But your officer, he told me! He said the report had nothing to do with the Lana Sky incident.
Detective Bruce Goodman murdered at the police department evidence room. Mr. Edgeworth, the victim's name is written right on the top of the report.
Gah! Why didn't your officer tell me? Honestly, I'm not sure if that officer was capable of making the connection. He did seem challenged.
In any case, this is a serious error, a gross negligence of duty on your part, Worthy.
But sir! You could have submitted that report this morning to the court as evidence! Then
No such luck this time, Worthy. Or should I say, unworthy.
What?
Now, what was the second rule of evidence law?
Well, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, well, it's, Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And how is this rule relevant? Normally, you submit a list of evidence to be used in court before the trial. This report wasn't on that list. So, what does this mean? I couldn't submit this evidence until a connection was proven in court. The connection was just proven by Wright over there. Good job, Wright, my boy.
Huh? I
was just doing my job. No. No! It seems we have come to the end of this trial. I know you're going through a tough time, Worthy, what with all those rumors. You were even in the defendant's chair just this past December.
I apologize for this terrible lack of due diligence on my part.
Mr. Edgeworth!
Please, just give me one day. I'll get to the bottom of what happened, if it's the last thing I do.
You'd better get results this time. Really.
You have my profound apologies, sir. Poor Mr. Edgeworth.
I don't think there's ever been an error this serious in the history of this court. I will grant one further day as the prosecution has requested. Will that be sufficient, Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Whatever your punishment for this is, for your sake, I hope it's not decisive. Very well. Court is adjourned.
All right. And with that, we have officially come to the end of our second day. Or actually, no, it's the first day. It's the second part of the first day of court. God, this is going to be super long. At least everything dealing with Gant was nowhere near as long, nor was it anywhere near as difficult as dealing with Angel Star. And I greatly appreciate the game for doing that, because Angel Star was a pain. But anyway, hopefully this recording doesn't get corrupted. And in any case, next time on Let's Play Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney, we head off to the second day of investigation. Things got very complicated. Apparently, the same man was murdered at the same time in two completely different places. So how the heck does that even work? Well, there's a lot of questions that we need to answer. And hopefully we'll try to be able to get some answers in our investigation tomorrow. So, here's hoping. Until next time, everyone, take care.